Salutations, everybody. Should be showing up in a minute. There we go. Hi, it's very nice to see everybody. Happy Monday, if you can call Monday a happy day. I am going back to you on Zero Escape. On more 999 November. This September, not November. We're not in November just yet. And yeah, we are currently on our 4th stream already. So this today I actually last week I managed to get in 3 streams in the series, and unfortunately that's probably not going to be the case for today for this week, I mean, because hold on, is my Wi-Fi working? I sure hope it does. I sure hope it is. Okay, seems like it is. It just seems like there was a bit of a weird lag going on, but yeah. So basically what I want to say is that today I'm going to be streaming, and I'll probably be streaming on Saturday. The reason why my schedule is we're having 2 streams instead of 1 is because I have my week is a little more packed than last one. Or at least I have plans in the evening, and therefore in Wednesday and Thursday evening and Tuesday, so basically we're going to be doing it that way. But yeah, we are going to be continuing the game today. Other things I should mention, I mean, I went to the gym, I did my exercise, I did my Pilates, and as soon as I did the Pilates exercise, I was like, oh, this wasn't very intense. And then I go back home, I sit down for a few hours, I do my work, which usually requires me to be sitting. Only to realize that, wow, my legs are sore. I really worked on my legs today. Now everything hurts. But I'll be fine. It's just I also need to mention on my Twitter that I'm back from hiatus. It's like I'm still saying that I'm in hiatus, but that's not true. I've been back to streaming for a bit. Yeah. Channel maintenance is hard, you guys. It's tricky. It's very tricky. Or maybe I'm doing it or perhaps maybe I'm doing it my brain is not braining right now. Yeah, it's like perhaps I'm just making it a lot harder than it should be. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, I am currently trying to do some. I noticed that I need to change my Twitter handle to say just say that I'm Snow PNG tuber. There we go. And yeah, there we go. I fixed my profile. It said that I'm on hiatus when that's not the case right now. I mean, I said a couple of times that I don't, I'm not really planning on, giving up on streaming, even though I had a bit of a few intense weeks. I just noticed that, again, I can't really cut streaming out of my life. That's what I gotta say. I was just typing something. Yeah, it's really hard for me to cut. It's kind of like sugar. It's really hard for me to cut it out of my life. It's a good rush of dopamine. So it's like if I can get it, because I really do enjoy streaming. I think it's fun. And I really like putting myself out there and playing things I care about for an audience, even if it's small, that may be intrigued. So yeah, with that being said, oh, I also gotta say, I finally beat Gold Stake in Balatro, which is incredible because you guys, like Gold Stake, but like specifically on Nebula deck, which means I don't have to touch that disgusting, boring, the worst deck in the game ever again. I really don't enjoy playing a Nebula deck. It's less consumables and like it's good for like ramping hands because you start with Telescope, but it's like it's not worth it, Chad. It's not very good. So 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. I think I need to say I begin with memories if I want to start it again. Would you like to start from the beginning? I unlocked the Forgotten deck in the other day. The Forgotten deck. I forgot what deck it is, but that sounds fun. Yeah, it's like one of my habits when I play Balatro is that like I pick a deck, I hyper focused on that deck, and I don't stop playing the deck until I have it up at Gold Stake. And so far, I think my progress has been pretty good in terms of like decks, both modded decks and like the vanilla decks. So if you're stubborn, you can get all the decks to that level. So yeah, it seems you will start in the beginning of the game with information from previous playthroughs. Would you like to overwrite this save data? The answer is yes, because, well, we reached our first ending last stream. Basically what happened is that Junpei went through door number 3 with Akane and Santa and Seven, only to find Snake's dead body in the shower. And after solving a few toilet-related puzzles, we realized that we can only go one way, and that's down the elevator. And so we went. We heard about Lotus being the mother of whose daughters mysteriously disappeared, and Seven, who is slowly regaining his memories of being a cop who was trying to find out why 16 kids disappeared 9 years ago, and he was kidnapped as well. But before we can get further into the truth, all our friends got stabbed. I don't know if I'd consider them friends, but like the other captives got stabbed. It began with Clover, Santa, and Ace, and then when we got back in, and then Akane got stabbed, and then Lotus and Lotus and Seven got stabbed. And as soon as but we also saw the submarine, and as soon as we started entering the submarine, we just got stabbed. We just got stabbed in the back, and we died, and our body was chucked into the ocean. I've been trying to unlock all vouchers and jokers and such, not trying to win. I'm really bad at. There are some vanilla jokers I've yet to unlock, and I really need to get on that for the sake of completionism. But yeah. And now we are basically going to go. We need to search the next option. We're gonna try again and see if we can make different choices. Can I skip the cutscene? I mean, I'm probably gonna skip it because, so we can't really skip this cutscene, so we're just gonna... Wait, I think I wrote down the puzzles. I don't need to do all the... Oh, but I need the keys, so I still need to get all the cutscenes. They're mandatory. Okay, that's key numero uno. Debating redeeming Balatro for the bid in 999 is peak. Yeah, listen, it was really funny when Explode Things did it in the first time. I'll give him that. Okay, we have this. So we have our keys. We place it all the way here. We want to place it here, and then we need to click the puzzle, like to put the solutions. I wrote it somewhere down here in my answer key. I need to look for the right page in my notebook. Wherever I put it, it's somewhere here, I promise. Oh, it's I think it's 7485. Yep, and the first one is 0263. Explode Things did it before you revealed the game, though. Yeah, that's fair. Chat trolls the server. Chat troll streamer. Anyways, water is wet. 0263. There we go. So we click this. We have tickets. Then we basically need to... This doesn't work. And then we basically need to do... Is it? No. 167? Yeah. We put the numbers. We're just gonna fast forward through all of this. We already saw it. If you haven't seen it yet, then I don't know what to tell you. This goes way faster with the fast forward button. I'm just gonna say that, and God bless the emulator for letting us fast forward through that. Okay, so let's try with Snake and 7. This choice doesn't really matter. Snake, 7, you think you can give me a hand here? The pun was a little too on the nose, but the mood was still grim. Both Snake and 7 lifted their hands silently. Slowly, each of them placed their hand on a scanner panel. 5 plus 2 plus 7 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. They'd fulfill the conditions. They were to pull the lever on the side. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna open it. Junpei grabbed the letter and looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. Okay, we already saw the gore. All the characters. I'm gonna say that everyone is gonna not make a fool of myself. And I think 8365 is... I think we said it's 4. Okay. So last time we went through door number 4, and it's not gonna be the last time we're gonna go through door number 4. We are gonna... And last time we were basically playing with the team and saying, okay, Let's go, like, I'm gonna go with door number 4 because Ace wanted to go through door number 5. However, I think that this time we're going to look for the body. So, Junpei decided that it had to be door number 5. Hey, wait! Junpei's cry echoed across the room. The 4 people walking towards the door stopped and turned toward him. I want to go through door number 5 too. The words were scarcely out of his mouth, and when June spoke up. What? What are you saying, Junpei? If you're gonna go through that door, then I'm going with you. He turned around to look at her. No, you can't. I can't take you with me. Why? Well, you know what's in there, don't you? Also, I'm curious. Is there an option for us to go through door number 5 with Junpei? June? Just gonna do a quick check. I mean, we can go with Santa. And then it'll just be the 3 of us. Well, you know what's in there, don't you? Are you sure you want to see that? June opened her mouth as if to say something, but instead of closing it again and looked at the floor. Junpei felt an ache in his chest at her clear distress, but the choice was not his to make. There was nothing else he could do. Junpei turned away from June, doing his best to silence his turbulent emotions. Please, let me go into door 5. 7 scratched his head and looked at the young man. Man, now we're right back where we started, you know that? Junpei's bracelet number is 5, right? If we are to add Junpei, then we must subtract 5 from the rest of us. Snake turned to Ace. Ace, please take good clue. Ace, please take it. Bleh. Ace, please take good care of Clover. Oh, all right. That's fine. 1 plus 4 equals 5. Don't go away! You need to listen to me, Clover. Go to door 4 with the others. No! Don't be so selfish. Snake's tone was harsh. Tears welled up in Clover's eyes. Well, we know, if there's one thing we learned from the previous route is that Clover is very attached to her brother. Understandably so, because he's the only one she knows. From all the people in here. She bit her lip and did her best to fight them off. Snake's expression softened and he put his arms around Clover. He held her close and whispered to her ear. You'll be fine. Just relax. It looked as though he whispered 2 or 3 more words, but whatever they were, Junpei did not hear them. He couldn't help but wonder what the other man had said. Snake pulled back from his sister, his eyes kind and inquiring. Okay, I understand. Her voice was barely audible from where Junpei stood. Before long, new teams were assembled. Those going to door 5, 7, Snake, and Junpei. 7 plus 2 plus 5 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. Those going into door number 4. Lotus, Santa, June, Ace, and Clover. Oh wow, this is definitely a more I didn't remember that we were in such a smaller team when going through door number 5. I'm guessing it's going to be a sausage party from here on out. 8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4 equals 22. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 7, Snake, and Junpei scanned their numbered bracelets in quick succession. The screen on the red showed 3 asterisks. Alright then, let's go. Junpei glanced one last time, his hand resting on the lever of the red. Okay, please be careful. Concern was written plainly across her face. Junpei looked her in the eye and gave what he hoped was a reassuring nod. He pulled the lever. Also, we are currently entering one of my favorite routes in the game. With a sharp clack of a lock releasing, the door swung open. Ahead of them, in the small hallway, were the pitiful remains of the ninth man. For a moment, Junpei froze. Try as he might, his eyes would not leave the corpse, and his feet would not leave the floor. I mean, Junpei did it because he wanted to take a closer look on the body. That's the reason why he chose door number 5. 7-2 seemed paralyzed. Snake, on the other hand, seemed unconcerned. He walked calmly down the bloody hallway, only stopped when he realized his companions were not following. Do you intend to kill me? I assure you, I assume you haven't forgotten the door only remains open for 9 seconds, have you? He hadn't even bothered to turn around. His head was, at most, slightly cocked towards one shoulder. Junpei and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and threw themselves through the door. As they did, a cold tone sounded from the left wrists of all 3 men. Seven and Junpei looked down at their bracelets, on both of them, and on Snake's, a red skull had flickered to life. The detonator had begun its countdown. They had scarcely processed this information when... Oof, even the door is splattered with blood. The metallic slam, the numbered door began behind him swung shut. Unless he could find a device that would deactivate the detonators on their wrists, they would not be leaving the hallway. Hey! Where's the dead? The fear and urgency in Seven's face reflected what all 3 of them felt. Junpei spun around, searching desperately for the dead. He found it easily enough. It was on the wall next to the closed door labeled 5. Found it! Right here! As he yelled, he struck the scanner with his hand. The other 2 scrambled to follow suit. As soon as they finished, Snake threw the lever down. And we're in the clear. Whew. Well, it looks like it stopped. As he spoke, Junpei wiped the sweat from his forehead and with a trembling hand. Goddamn thing's gonna give me a heart attack. A muscle stood out in Seven's neck, and the corners of his mouth were twitching. Junpei, are you alright? Are you guys okay? Wait, are you guys okay? They could hear anxious voices, muffled but distinct, from the other side of the door. Yeah, we're fine. The detonators have been deactivated. They heard relieved sighs, and even through the door, the 3 men could feel the tension disperse. Alright, we're moving on. Be careful, okay? Okay. Sure thing. They heard footsteps moving away, and before long they were alone again. Also, notice how Ace was the only one who didn't say anything. Santa said something, Clover said something, June said something, and Santa said something. They heard footsteps moving away, and before long they were alone again. Junpei looked around. The hallway hit a dead end 20 or 30 feet from where they stood. A thick iron wall blocked their way. Try as they might to force it, the wall refused to move. To the left, however, was a wooden door that looked positively inviting by comparison. In the middle of it was a plaque that read First Class. First class cabin, huh? Well, it seems like it. Let's have a look then, shall we? It definitely has a fancier door. Without hesitation, Snake opened the door and stepped inside. Seven followed closely behind him. Junpei moved to follow them as well, but he stopped just short of a threshold and looked back, not knowing why. Lying in the small hallway was a man's body, or at least what was left of it. He tried hard to avoid looking at the grisly scene, but it just wouldn't leave his mind. What had once been a man's internal organs now looked like so much vomit, as though something had chewed up and spit out the better part of his torso. By the way, chat, I'm gonna lower the... I raised my mic's volume a bit because I noticed that, like, my volume mixing was pretty bad in the previous few streams. Does my audio sound fine? Or is the music too loud? It was hideous, but worse still, it was cruel. It was hard to believe the thing on the floor had once been human. The black pool of thick blood. I think it'd be fine. Okay, cool. The black pool of thick blood. The lumps of glistening flesh spread across the floor. The awkward, twisted tangle of shredded intestines. The head wrenched to some grotesque, unnatural position. The man's glasses laid next to his head. The lenses were cracked, and the frame bent and distorted. And next to the glasses lay a bracelet, the number 9 still displayed on its face.
Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically.
Suddenly, Junpei felt his stomach convulse when a knot of muscle gripped his throat. He clapped his hands over his mouth and ran to the first class cabin. A bit of gore to start the stream, am I right? The atmosphere changed immediately. The room was gorgeous, and despite the apparent age of the ship, none the worse for wear. He looked around. Seven and Snake were nowhere to be seen. There were 2 doors to the right side of the room. He opened the one on the right and went through. On the other side of the door was a short hallway. Hello and welcome to the stream. We're currently playing Zero Escape. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. The first one. Hope you stick around. He jogged down the hallway, opened the door on the other hand, and peeked through. There they were, to his right, busy examining something. He stopped through the door and walked towards them. What's up? Check this out. We found this thing here on the door. The red light's on. Does that mean it's locked? So I would assume. Is there any way out? We looked around a little. Other than the door, we didn't find anything. So you're telling me that unless we can open this door, yes, we won't be going anywhere. Junpei stepped away from the door and looked around the room. The room they were in looked like a bedroom. He figured the room he'd originally entered was the living room or whatever passed for one on the ship. Alright, let's find a way to open this door. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. There's quite a bit of stuff to be inspected around here. And because it's been years since I last played this game or watched a Let's Play, a lot of it is unfamiliar. A white desk. Feels kind of fancy. White desk. Feels kind of fancy. Okay. It's a small round chair. Looks like it's probably goes to some vanity. Ooh. Score plate. I see. This feels like glass. A rectangular plate of glass. Is there something written on the surface? Yeah, it's a sheet of music with a couple of A notes. Just A's? Yeah, that's it. Kinda weird, huh? Ooh. It took Junpei by surprise. Snake, usually so calm and collected, suddenly began to move. He stared about the room almost frenetically, clearly looking for something. No, Junpei thought, not staring. Staring. After all, he's blind. Blind or not, Snake was clearly attempting to do something. At last, Junpei could no longer contain his curiosity. What are you doing? Snake waited a moment before answering. I heard something strange. Something strange? Oh, well, never mind. It doesn't seem to be anything suspicious. I don't wish to toot my own horn, but my auditory senses are considerably more advanced than those of most humans. I noticed even the slightest of noises. Right, are you gonna tell me you can hear a needle drop from a mile away? No, such a thing would be impossible. However, by listening to the sound of footsteps and breathing, as well as sound echoing off the environment, I can locate most objects. Oh yeah, that's right. Clover fell on the big staircase a while ago. You were at her side immediately. So that was, yes, I could hear it happening. In fact, I can run quite fast, certainly as fast as you. And should someone attempt to start a fight with me, I am quite confident that I could defeat them. This man can throw hands. Junpei was somewhat taken aback by this revelation. He stared at Snake, skeptical. You don't believe me, do you? Care to give me a try? How was he killed then? That's a good question. He definitely didn't go down without a fight, so it means the theory that Snake was jumped on a little sus. Maybe he was drugged or something? Well, we don't know. Don't believe me, do you? Care to give me a try? I must warn you, you'll no doubt regret it. Well, I suppose that's enough playing around. Let's resume our search, shall we? With a small, satisfied smile, Snake turned and walked away from Junpei. I really love how nonchalant Snake is. He's so cool. Like, he looks at them, like he stares at them. Like, he approaches Seven and Junpei are like, are you guys gonna kill me? There's a lot of really cool stuff there. I've seen things like this in movies and stuff, but never in real life. I haven't seen beds and canopies either, unless it was like in a castle. Like historical castles. True, you don't see too many these days. I can't see the details, obviously, but I imagine it's one of those princess beds Clover is so fond of. Clover wants one of these? Yes. She wants a princess bed. Didn't I say that? You think it doesn't suit her? Yeah, I guess you could say that. Ah, Junpei. Judge her by her appearances, will you? And where you should not. A large bed with a canopy. Man, this makes me miss my own bed. And sleep. That's related. That's super relatable. Oh, there was literally no vanity here. Well, at least we got light. What? What the hell, man? It's just a light. Oh, of course. You know, chat. Didn't Seven say in the last stream that one of the kids he saved was called Light? Is Snake perhaps Light, I wonder? Man, that's... You slimy bastard, you. This is a high-quality desk. Teak, or perhaps mahogany. Wow, how can you tell? Oh, he liked the Nona. Yeah, and like he said, that's really cool. That's such a stupid throwaway line, and like, now you make sense of it. Yep, and one of the kids died. Oh, I have my ways. Oh, I have my ways. I mean, we're in the first-class cabin, Junpei, of course. Of course it's gonna be fancy. It's only a table with a mirror. Ah, yes, you know that sort of thing is known as vanity. Were you aware of that, Junpei? Of course, vanity also refers to self-love, conceit, and narcissism. He just likes throwing around facts. As such, you can say that every day when a woman looks into one of these. Yeah, he's so funny. She's staring at her own conceit and narcissism. Doesn't that strike you as terribly sad? An antique vanity. There's nothing in the drawer. Yep, totally empty. Okay. What's this? This isn't a score. Is this a map of the ship? A map. There's a map of this ship here. Yeah. And I imagine it will prove very helpful. You best hold on to it, Junpei. Okay. It is now possible to use the map screen. The piano keyboard. What the snake's doing? He can't play, can he? This piano. There's something amiss with the keys. You mean it's out of tune or something? No, not that. It's probably tuned, just... Well, the sounds are clearly purposefully different. The C key doesn't yield a C, but rather a different note entirely. The same goes for the D keys. They play some other note. Huh, why do you think it's like that? Isn't it painfully obvious? Zero modified it in some way. This piano, you see, is part of one of the puzzles Zero has set for us. Perhaps if we play the keys in the correct order, something will happen. In other words, we need to play a song on the piano. Well, I believe so. An upright piano, but the feel of the wood must be quite old. Something tells me we need to look for more clues. Oh, another bath! And it's full. There's a plug at the end of the chain. Let's see if I can pull it out. Whoa, hold up! I was just thinking, you might be able to use the water. Use the water? Okay, it seems like Seven saw something we didn't. Well, the sink's clean. Any water? Nothing's coming out. We've got the faucet on all the way, but I can't hear anything. And there we are in the mirror. What a pair. College kid and a terrifying giant of a man with a beanie. Stuck in a cramped bathroom. This beast of a man. What do my parents say? They probably say, wow, Junpei, you are next to a very tall man. Something wrong, Junpei? You look real sad all of a sudden. Nothing. Justin. Hey, it's great to see you all here. I just flew in from New York, and boy, are my arms tired. Oh, is Seven doing a podcast? Let's go. Yes, thank you. I'll be here all week. Trying to feel. That's not a mic, Seven. It's just a shower head. What? What the hell? Okay. So that's what we got from here. And if we go through here and we enter this area. It's a heavy piece of paper that's been folded in half. It has score printed in front of it. Score, that's gotta be musical score. That's weird, then the score we just found was probably in here. At least, at some point. It's a chair. A chair, huh? Oh, I think we're building up for a gag here. The chair looks nice. And if I take a load off, I think you'd be doing the opposite. No, Junpei, don't fat shame. The chair does look pretty comfortable. Somebody spent a whole lot of time carving the legs on that chair. It'll snap like a twig if Seven sits on it, though. Mind your own business. Junpei, why are you disrespecting the tall, big man and the elderly? That's some sort of antique desk. Makes sense, though. This whole room's full of antiques. You get a nice handful of cash for all the stuff in here. I like how him and Lotus think the exact same. It's funny. I get it. You're gonna use the vase, right? That's pretty clever, Junpei. We just gotta fill that thing with the water. What? What are you talking about? Oh man, you don't get it? Just grab the vase and take a look around. You'll figure it out soon enough. And Seven basically forced me to use a vase. Looks like a vase. We can use that. Oh! Oh. Another, score plate. Nope. Does not go together. This is a suitcase made of leather in the color of rich mahogany. Well, shoot. Looks like there's nothing in it. And there's nothing in there. Okay, so nothing in here. And if we fill this up, the bathtub's full of gross, cloudy water. Yeah, if we fill the vase up, we can toss it. Then we can toss it. Huh? Not really sure what he's saying. Whatever. Let's just get the vase out full of water. Hey, Junpei, what are you doing over there? Only one thing to do now that we got the thing full of water. Come on, what are you waiting for? Huh? Take what down? It seems like, 7 is thinking a few steps ahead of us. It's a toilet. Doesn't seem to be anything in the toilet or the tank. There's some toilet paper on the wall there. Nothing there looks suspicious. It's a toilet. Nothing strange going on here. I'm not doing another toilet puzzle game. That's... Uchikoshi, this is the 7th toilet you've shown us. Like the 4th toilet you've shown this week. Get new material. Huh? Light switch. Nothing happens when I press it. Ah, that's where you throw it. Alright, time to put the fire out. About time, buddy. Let's do it. Here we go. Haha, good job. Another success. That fire didn't stand a chance. Alright, I'll just pull it out now. I don't want to get burned, so let's pull down the sleeves. Ah. Oh. As Junpei took the plate into the pocket, 7 cried out and stumbled, his balance lost. He threw out a hand and caught the wall in time to steady himself to avoid the floor, but his face was flushed and he looked startled. Hey, 7! What the hell was that? Are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. I just felt a little dizzy, that's all. 7 rubbed a couple of fingers across his brow, then shook his head as if to clear it. What the hell's wrong with me? First memory loss, now I'm getting dizzy for no reason. Memory loss? .jpeg? Junpei couldn't hide his surprise in his voice. 7, for his part, seemed unconcerned. Right, I guess I haven't told you, have I? Told the rest of them, but that must have been before you showed up. Well, the long and short of it is that I don't remember Jack from before I woke up here. Oh shit, I see that the dryer finished drying. I realized I had told you. Whoa, wait a minute. You're talking about amnesia, right? Yeah, I guess so. Well, why are you an amnesiac? What happened to you? If I knew that, I wouldn't really be one, would I? Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Junpei paused for a moment and stared at 7. Are you telling the truth? Huh? Well, you look pretty calm for somebody who doesn't remember anything. If you really got amnesia, shouldn't you be, like, upset or confused or something? Well, sure. I mean, I was pretty confused when I woke up on D-Deck. That was a while ago. I got some time to get used to it. After a while, I figured it wasn't worth the trouble of worrying about it. After all, why worry about something I can't change? Well, people usually don't stay amnesiacs forever. I figure it'll work itself out eventually. He's so chill about this. That's it? That's it. Alright, that's enough talking for now. Let's get back to work. 7 gave Junpei the look of a younger man. The younger man wasn't sure how to interpret and turned to walk away. Yeah, I have amnesia. But I'm fine. Somehow, though, Junpei didn't find his reassurance very reassuring. The couch looks to be enough for 3 people. Looks perfect to me. What? Perfect for an elegant gentleman like myself. The couch looks a lot more elegant. Hey, there's something you aren't saying? Never mind. Everyone's a bit of an asshole in this game. Even Akane, who seems even Akane, like her assholishness just comes with throwing innuendos at Junpei. I remember when I first played this game, when I first discovered this game on YouTube, High Stress Situation. Yeah, that's fair. When I first played this game, no, not played, watched a Let's Play of it on YouTube when I was like in middle school. I was like, why is everyone so mean to each other? And, well, it's a high-stress situation, as you said at GamerCore. music stand. Might as well put the music I found on it. I'll put the ceramic plate on the bottom, and the glass plates onto... Wait a minute. What's wrong? Well, I put them all on top of each other, but they look odd. It doesn't really look like a song. In all likelihood, we haven't found them all. We need to find more glass plates. It seems like we need to look for more glass plates. You're right. There's probably more rooms I haven't searched for. Ah, there we go. We found the 4th one. This safe is locked. It's one of those die locks. It doesn't have a key. You just need to get the dials in the right place and it'll open. Did you find anything, Seven? Nope. How about you, Snake? I also found nothing. And nothing inside of the suitcase. I can tell by the weight it makes no noise when shaken. Unfortunately, there's nothing inside. Is this all of them? Even if we put all the glass plates we've got together, it's pretty clear that this isn't the song. There must be more of them hidden somewhere. Okie doke. Can we pull the plug now? There's a plug at the end of this chain. Alright, why don't we just drain this water? Yeah, good plan. Alright, when that thing... Good tug gotta get it out, huh? And I think that's the 5th. That's all of them. A, G, D, C. We don't see anything else in here, so we might as well return to our place. Is this all of them? Appearance of pianos like this much now. A music stand seems as a good place to put in the music we found. Just gotta put the ceramic plate on the bottom and then stack the glass plates on top of it. Alright, good. Sweet. Now I can play the music. Junpei, would you be so kind to play the piano? I am unable to... You see. Oh my god. He knows. I'm sure I need to tell you, but... The keys on this piano are not what you might expect them to be. C won't C, D won't D, and so forth. You must listen carefully to determine which keys to strike. Do you understand? Yeah. Alright, let's give it a shot. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. It's the first chords of Birkin Truck. The Castlevania version of that meme is funny. She already forgot. Yeah, no, I'm trying. It's... Dun, dun. Wait. Oh my god. Have you considered actually seeing the keys, what keys are what notes, rather than trial and error? I'm trying to remember them. Fuck! I'm trying. Fuck! Far right is never... Okay, so the far right is never used. Thank you for the hints. Oh, it's dun 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 dun, and then it's dun 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 dun. Fuck! I think this was a good opportunity to say that when I was a kid, I studied piano. And I had this mean Russian... No, she wasn't mean. I had this Russian piano teacher. And as you guys can see, I wasn't very good at piano. No, it's... We'll get it eventually, I promise. There we go. We did it. Yeah, I can't play it. Yeah, I remember this song is like the school bell sound from Japanese anime, from like Japanese schools. And we're down. Music not my forte. Neither it is for me, Junpei. Neither it is for me. By the way, can someone please clip the Birkenstruck version? Because that was really funny. Music is not my forte. Wait, what was that noise? Junpei, we did it! Looks like it worked. I heard something unlock over the exit. Let's go. Good plan. Stand, bow, be seated. Well, I guess he hasn't forgotten that. At least Snake thinks it's funny. Yes, I suppose it was the classroom bell, wasn't it? I imagine that's what Zero was thinking of, however. No, Zero certainly meant to suggest Westminster, not the middle school. Westminster? The palace in London that plays host to these days to the Houses of Parliament. You've heard of Big Ben, the famous clock tower, yes? Too far ahead now, need to wait for the VOD. It's fine, I'll clip it myself. Big Ben plays the very collection of notes of the hour. London. The capital of England, huh? At any rate, the door is now unlocked. Let's leave this place immediately. And it seems like we did it. Alright, let's go! And we solved the first class cabin puzzle. came out of the door and into a long, straight hallway. He paused for a moment and turned around to look behind him. Seven was bent over, apparently doing something at that door. What's he up to? Junpei spoke more or less to himself, but apparently Seven had heard anyway. The larger man stood up and turned to Junpei. I was just putting one of those plates in there. You gotta keep the door from locking again. Now we can come back here anytime we want, right? Why would you want to come back here? Snake was a reasonable one. Seven thought about it for a moment before he answered. You might like to play a little piano. Piano? Come on, let's get moving. We aren't out of this yet. Seven... That's pretty sus. Without waiting for an answer, Seven started off down the hallway. Also, notice how Seven is the only one who, like, tries to make sure they have backtracking. Like, he's a real Metroidvania player, that one. Snake shrugged, sighed, and quietly followed Seven. That's a lie, Junpei thought to himself. He had difficulty enough believing Seven could play the piano. But even if he could, the piano they just left was largely useless. The keyboard completely scrambled. If Seven wanted to come back, it was likely that he intended to do so in order to play the piano. It was unlikely, not likely. And if that was the case, why would he want to leave the door unlocked? Junpei frowned, took one last look at the door, and then walked away towards his companions. After some time in the hallway, they emerged into a larger, more open area. A large metal grate lighted the door of the jail, divided it in half. They shook it for a while they had expected, it did not move. But as they had expected, behind the grate were two elevators. From so far away, however, it was difficult to tell if they were still operating. On the left side of the grate was a door. Unfortunately, however, it was locked and refused to open. Junpei took a moment to examine the left side of the room. Next to the wall was a set of stairs leading downward. Standing guard on top of the stairway was a large iron gate. Foreboding as it was, the gate seemed to be distorted. It could be opened, unlike the metal grate bisected the room. With luck, Junpei hoped he might be able to get it open. The female symbol. He wasn't quite sure what to make of it. Snake, naturally, was the one who was somewhat more sure. The Venus symbol, I imagine. Do you recall the similar symbols near the large central stairway? They reference many of the solar bodies. Sun, Saturn, Earth. As you can see, that one is likely not a woman's symbol, but a Venus symbol. So I assume. While they had been discussing the symbols, Junpei has now realized Seven has slipped away. Whew. His absence now felt. Snake and Junpei turned to look for their missing companion. There. Seven left them to turn down to the hallway, extending to the right of the stairs. Junpei grabbed Snake to lead him to the right direction, and they both headed off after Seven. I wonder who decided what those signs are gonna be. Like, what era did the star signs originate from? Before long, the three of them stood in front of the door. It was a French door. Junpei tested the door and realized that, unlike many others, the one they'd encountered, it was unlocked. Almost as though they were afraid it wouldn't suddenly lock itself, Junpei threw the door open. He stepped inside. It was only a moment for Junpei to take in his new surroundings. Is this some kind of casino? Sure looks like one. Before Junpei could come, Western Zodiac originated in Babylonian astrology. Oh, so basically this originated from the Babylonians. Crazy. Before Junpei could comment further, a noise from behind made him turn around. Snake was shaking the door they just came through. Seven and Junpei has watched. He threw up his hand in some frustration, then kicked the door for good measure. It looked as though they were once again locked in. There was no reason to panic, however. Even if the door had been left open, there was nowhere for them to go back there. They would have to find another way out. Alright guys, let's split up and search this room. It was later influenced by the Hellenistic culture. Yeah, that makes sense. Come on, no dawdling, let's go. Quickly now. Spurred to action by Seven's words, Junpei and Seven began to examine the room. Don't you mean seek a way out, Junpei? Seek a way out. Ooh, there's something on the counter. Looks like a card. Playing card. Oh, it's just a 7 of clovers. Doesn't really say much to us. Let's say 7 of spades. What am I saying? My Balatro method, my Balatro senses have failed me. The 7 of spades. Okay, not much to say besides that. That's a lot of expensive glasses. Even cheap drinks taste great out of glasses like these. By the way, which game do you think has harder puzzles? Virtue's Last Reward, or Zero, or this one, or 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors? A playing card. Another one. 4 of spades. Well, we look at that. Someone left a bottle of booze here. Don't mind if I do. Wow, that hits the spot. Feels like my throat's burning. Damn, you really drank it. You don't even know how long it's been there. I'm not taking responsibility, Seven. Another card, 5. The 5 of spades. Also, I see a vase. Can't click it though. A square poker table. There's nothing on it. What's this? There's a weird looking thing floating in there. Yep. Maybe it's Junpei. I can feel the frame here. What sort of painting is this? Clouds, maybe? Clouds. Well, maybe it's a rabbit. A rabbit. Or if it's not that, it might be a close-up of some teeth. Oh, I guess there's actually nothing there. Just a blank piece of white canvas in the frame. I see. How strange. I didn't think I'd find a card here. It's a 6 of spades. Ah. Ooh. Wait, those 2 lights turned on. I heard something from the bottom of the fireplace. What was that? I heard something down there. It's coins. There's a whole bunch of coins stuffed into this velour bag. Look at all these coins. Perhaps these coins will allow us to convince the machines to move. I didn't know velour bags was what it's called. Firewood. Nothing else. Let's go to one of them then. Alright, let's put the coins from the bag in here. What happened? I heard an odd noise. Well, to be honest, I don't know. Pressed some of the buttons and smacked the machines once or twice, but nothing happened. Oh, looks like the coin got stuck. Oh dear. It's a drawer they used to pick up the money. It's locked tight so you can get it open. Let's just continue putting coins in everything. Alright, let's drop the coin. The coin and the coin slot. Come on, you little bastards. I only need one of you. Ah. Let's go gambling! God damn it! Literal gambling. Aw, damn it. Ah! Hold on. This is a tough one. Not so tough, might I ask. Hitting those reels just right. The timing as well, it's not easy. I don't believe you need to hit them just right. Huh? Yeah, I just noticed something. I'm gonna... I think the game gave us a hint on how to click them. It's clover, diamond, heart. I mean, club, diamond, heart. Spade and diamond. Symbols on the reels are the same as the playing card symbols I saw in the fireplace. Exactly. Okay, cool. We rigged the game. I can't stop winning. Trip 7. Yes! Triple 7! And I think I hear something unlock me in there. Impressive, Junpei. It would appear to be unlocked now. There's something akin to a drawer in the bottom part of the machine, yes? That is a pickup drawer for dividend. Probably the lock on the drawer got unlocked. Please open it if you would. What is it? Is there something in there? Yeah, playing card and this. Key with the Venus symbol on it. Excellent, Junpei. Now we will be able to open the gate. We just need to figure out how to get out of this room. Correct. Come on, Junpei, hurry up. And he's off. He's playing card and a Venus key. Better put the key in my pocket for later. As for your card, we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Damn it. I mean, we can play a flush, but we can't play a straight flush. What happens if we put this in here? Oh, it's not relevant anymore. We don't have any coin. The coins aren't relevant anymore to the puzzle. Seems the card is attached to the panel. And it's attached very well, it seems. If you don't mind, what sort of card is this? It's a playing card. The Ace of Spades, in fact. Here's a card slot. Looks like we need to put a playing card in here. Alright, let's give it a shot. It's an ace. I think we need to find more cards. So it would seem. I'm shocked and appalled, but guessing the random was not yielding results. Wow, that's rude. That's rude, Snake. You don't have to out me like this. That's why I have chat. It's a 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool. We can play a straight flush. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, this place is like super amazing. What's this place for? Probably for playing Baccarat. Looks a little off though. Yeah, look at the middle of the table. There's something mounted on it, see? Video Armageddon, yeah, for real. Suddenly, 7 began to speak. Ah, Baccarat. You ever played Junpei? I didn't get the reference, no. I just went with it to not make you feel bad. Have you played? Alright then, how can I explain the rules to you for a bit? See, Baccarat is kind of an unusual game. Sadness. Yeah, maybe I know it, maybe I don't. I probably forgot. You got the banker and the player, and the whole point is to guess which one's gonna win. where the banker or the player wins depends on their hands. You should watch old terrible movies more. I should. And whether the banker or the player wins all depends on their hands. The way each hand works is different from other games too. So you take the number of the ones you place after you add the value of all of your cards. Whoever gets the number closest to 9 wins. If your number is smaller than your opponent, you lose. And that's it, that's the explanation, got it? Well, actually, there's a lot more to it. Strategy, details, sort of stuff. But what I just told you sums up the core of the game pretty well. A single digit of the sum of all cards you have. The Wizard, the movie that's infamous for being... Oh, I love with the famous... I love the power. I love it so bad. I've heard of it. I've heard the Nostalgia Critic speak of it. I think I also watched and like for a less cringe example, I also think Rebel Taxi mentioned it in one of his videos. By the way, Rebel Taxi just released a pilot yesterday based on his webcomic project thing. It's called Loki IRL. It's really nice. Strongest hand is a 9. The weakest hand is a 0. The Megas did a cover of it of its theme song. Ah, nice. Do you get it? He hadn't been asked for it, but Seven's explanation, restored it had been, was helpful. Although it had been only half understood most of it, Junpei has now felt, though he had some grasp on how victory was won at Baccarat. However, Junpei had no way of knowing if the puzzle on the Baccarat table in front of them made use of those rules, and if it did, in what way. No problem, he told himself, he would simply have to try everything he could think of. Feeling more confident, if only slightly, Junpei approached the Baccarat table. So need a sum of 9. Hey, 7, are we all supposed to play Baccarat? It's a Baccarat table. What the hell else could we do? Stop worrying about it. It's real simple. What's the opponent's hand? Well, there's an 8 in there in the glass case. Alright, then that's your opponent's number. If that's the case, what 3 cards do we have to get the number? 3 cards. There's a couple of indentations and white lines around them, right? Those mean we gotta put down 3 cards. So, let's get 3 cards and defeat the opponent's 8. That's what we gotta do, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Something tells me those aren't the only rules. Alright, let's give it a shot. Before I start, I better make sure I've got the rules straight. There are 3 empty indentations. We just gotta pick a card and play it. I figure if I put them in the right spot, something ought to happen. Alright, let's give it a try. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want... And it seems like that was it. Alright, if I just put down these 3 cards... Yes! Open for me! Great. You did it, Junpei. You think it's telling us to take the 8th card? Let's grab it. Alright, let's take the card. And we got card numero 8. Which means we can go all the way here. And then put the 8 there. Because we want them to sum up. And so, hey, it opened up. It seems we have another device to contend with, yes? There are 3 slots in this one. Let's see. 3 slots per card, and there is a 9 below them. So that probably means we gotta make it the night with 3 cards within the slots, right? Just like what we did over at the baccarat table. Alright, let's give it a shot. Okay, it doesn't seem like it can move the ace, so it's 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because it's the digital route. 5 plus 6, yeah. We're going by digital route rules, which means 5 plus 6 plus 7 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. Alright. So I put all the cards we have left into the slots. What happens now? Huh? Is that? Yes! I did hear something from the exit. Excellent work, Junpei. Wonderful. It seems the exit is unlocked. Let's go. Junpei, where are you going? Isn't the exit unlocked now? The liquor! You're gonna drink that booze on the counter! Well, I'm not gonna let you beat me to it! One, you're way too young to drink liquor. I turned 21 a while ago. Oh my god, he's a literal baby. God, just leave my medicine alone, alright? 7, I think that once we get out of here, we need to take you into an AA meeting. A AAA meeting, an Alcoholics Amnesiacs Anonymous. Junpei, we must leave before 7 goes insane. I think it's a little too late for that. Alright, let's go. 0 time dilemma spoilers, is it? Not intentionally. Alright, let's go. We open the door. He does. Yeah. Yeah. This I remember. Junpei is spoilers for the 3rd game in the series. Junpei becomes emo. Junpei and his companions ran out of the casino into a large open room. A room, in fact, that they hadn't been in once before. 7 was a bad influence. Yeah! Good guy, bad influence. A room, in fact, they had been into once before. There was little to surprise them there. They already knew what their next step had to be. The iron gate still stood in place, locked tight, blocking the stairway. In the center of the gate was a keyhole engraved with the Venus symbol. This time, however, Junpei had the Venus key in his pocket. Wasting no time, he pulled it out and shoved it into the keyhole. He turned it. With a distinctive sound of metal on metal, he felt the lock click open. Alright, let's get this thing open. No problem, I'd need help with this one. Junpei grabbed the handle on the left side and 7 took a handle on the right. On Junpei's signal, they both pushed and the gate cracked open. And it opened. Yay. It sounds as though you have opened it. We should be able to reach the sea deck now, I imagine. Snake, are you gonna be alright? I mean, the stairs. Please, do not do yourself the embarrassment of underestimating me. I would be unlikely to trip, even if I were running backwards. Good to hear. Let's move. At 7's words, they leapt onto the stairs and jogged quickly down from them. In no time at all, they found themselves on sea deck. Junpei ran down the stairs a little farther in hopes of checking the deck below. When he reached the water, he called back up to Snake and 7. Just what I thought. The deck is completely underwater. It's like the bottom of the central staircase. The surface of the water below was flat like a mirror. That it had not changed too greatly since they'd last seen it was a great relief. Junpei quickly retraced his steps and headed back to sea deck. In front of the stairs were a pair of elevators. They appeared to be identical to the ones on the upper floor. Between them, attached to the wall, was another card reader. Next to that was another strange symbol. Hey, check it out. It's the symbol for Lotus. What? See, it's got the woman symbol and then it's got the devil horns, right? Yeah, I see. No two ways about it. That was a pretty good one, kid. Yeah, I see the bad influence part. 7 is enabling Junpei. 7 tousled Junpei's hair with what he likely thought to be a friendly manner. Junpei feared his neck might break, even though it was clear that 7 had kept his strength in check. Thankfully, Snake interrupted. After Junpei's observation, he'd gone over to examine the card reader. This is the Mercury symbol. The marks he mistook for horns are a stylized version of the wings and staff of Hermes. Wings and staff, huh? So she beats you with the staff until you die and go to heaven. Sounds like Lotus, alright. 7 shook Junpei's head even more vigorously, and the younger man began to feel as though his brain was being jostled about the inside of his skull. He began to feel rather ill. Both of them are violent. Both Lotus and Junpei are violent towards him in their own special ways. Speaking of, I'm gonna save. It's been a while since I last saved, and yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Unless we can activate this device, I doubt the elevator will function. In other words, we gotta find a keycard with a Mercury symbol on it. So I would assume. They decided to leave the elevators alone for the time being and headed back to the stairs. To the left was another hallway. There were a great many doors lining both sides of the hallway. They seemed to stretch on forever, and 3 minutes suddenly felt very small. Oh shit, we're not gonna have enough time to check all these, are we? Maybe we can come back here later. Let's check out the other side. They turned around and went back to the way they came. To the right of the stairs, another hallway stretched out, reaching deep into the bowels of the ship. After a few moments of moving briskly down the hallway, they emerged in an area roughly the same size and shape as the one on top of the stairs. On the left side of the room were 4 stretched doors. Well, let's open them up. Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. He gave it a small tug and felt it move. It was unlocked. Thrilled to have found another unlocked door, he threw it open. Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw. I wonder, did we already see this clip? Because we were already in the hospital room, he simply stood, unable to speak. 7's eyes opened wide and his mouth gaped. After a few long moments, 7 at last managed to speak. Hey, what is that place? A massive room stretched in front of them, more of a cavern than a room, and its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on 7 and Junpei. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattresses. Is this a hospital? He at last had been able to put a name to the harsh scent that pervaded the room. The room was full of the clean smell of antiseptic solution. In the center of the room were shelves stacked with medicine, and a number of medical devices that the function of which Junpei did not know. More importantly, however, on the back wall of the room were 4 doors. 3 of them were emblazoned with large single-digit numbers, made with thick red paint. The door on the left was labeled 3. The second door on the left had no number, but the third had been given a 7. The door on the right wore an 8. There could be no doubt they were numbered doors. It did strike Junpei as strange, however, that the door between 3 and 7 should be blank. What, he wondered, could that mean? Let's take a look at those doors. Yeah, good idea. The 3 of them threaded their way through the beds, and then towards the back of the room. Back of the room, not lack. There is no room lacking here. Upon reaching them, they proceeded to investigate each door in turn, but to no avail. Yep. Locked. Just as I thought. Naturally. After all, there are rules to the nonary games, and to allow these doors to open easily would violate those rules. Unless we can authenticate ourselves with the red, the number doors will... Yeah, I just took a sip of water. Whoa, check this out. Suddenly someone spoke up, interrupting the snake. Look at the red. There's nothing on it. Huh? Yeah, a lot of this is really familiar. Don't you remember the red at the back of the main staircase? If there wasn't anyone in it, it said vacant on a little screen, remember? Oh yeah, you're right. But this one... There's nothing. Right? You think it's broken? Well, only one way to find out. Junpei and the others had put their hands on the panel, but nothing happened. The red refused to change. They tried pulling the lever, and still nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red on door 8 that seemed to be malfunctioning. The red on door 7 and the red on door 3, none of them worked. What they wondered did it mean? They've gotta be broken. Man, that bastard. I didn't think Zero was the kind of guy who'd screw around with something like this. Whoa. Zero's been prepared for everything so far. And you were saying he's gonna make a mistake now? Well, that's the only thing I can think of. This thing ain't working at all. While Junpei and Seven talked, Snake busied himself with examining the red. After a time, he lowered his hand and spoke. It seems some of the internal hardware has been removed. Internal hardware? That is what I said. Take a look at the underside of the red, if you'd please. Junpei obliged and bent over to the underside of the device. A long, thin slit ran along the bottom of it. As he looked harder, he realized it was more of a slot than a slit, and there had been clearly meant to accommodate some manner of electrical device. The other two reds were of the same. Something has clearly been removed from all three of them. I get it. So the reds aren't working because somebody pulled out their guts. So I assume. But why? And who? I mean, it doesn't really make sense. I have no idea. Why on earth would I know something like that? Just then, they heard the sound of a door opening. 3 of them turned and saw... Akane! No, Junpei thought it's... June! She stopped short, surprised to see them, and very neatly bowled over by the rest of her companions, who were coming through the door behind her. Ace, Santa, Clover, and Lotus all poured out of the door, each of them as surprised as the last to see Junpei, Snake, and Seven. Junpei and Seven were, for the moment, at a loss for words. What are you guys doing? Why are you... After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through and how they ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were simply happy to see each other again. Okay, doesn't seem like it's... The level of cheer varied greatly from person to person. Each one of them was wearing a manner of smile. Almost as though they'd already forgotten about the death of the 9th man. No, thought Junpei. Perhaps this wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were that drove them to smile at each other. I just want to check something with the controls. Okay, yeah, it is configured correctly. Perhaps thoughts of his death were that drove him to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way. The 9th man had died, but they were still alive, and that was something worth something to be happy about. A sort of simple and complicated joy. Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Still alive. He felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than anything, Junpei was happy to just be alive. Just happy to be alive. This is bad, though. If the red isn't working, we can't keep going. What about the big hallway? Maybe there's something in there we might be able to go. No, there's nothing there. The 5 of us have a quick look. There were a great many rooms, although none of them seemed to appear to have any patients for quite some time. Patients? You mean all those doors are for hospital rooms? Yes. Apparently they had a number of individual rooms in addition to this large central room. There was a door room at the end of the hallway too, and it was locked. It had one of those solar system mark things on it. It was the Jupiter symbol. Jupiter? I wonder what it means. That was a better read. Confusion seemed to be the consensus. That reminds me, what's the deal with this big room anyway? What's this thing? Was this some kind of huge passenger ship? No one, not even Snake, appeared ready to offer an answer until someone unexpectedly spoke up. I bet it's a hospital ship. In fact, it's probably the Gigantic. The Gigantic? Junpei looked at Seven, shocked both by his knowledge and apparent identity of their prison. He was not the only one. What's the Gigantic? Santa and the 3 women seemed like a comedy routine we sorely missed. Oh, absolutely. And then Ace is just there, like, having to bear it. Santa, I think most of the comedy just came from him, like, shaming the other... I don't know, not shaming, but, like, you know, dissing the other woman. The Gigantic. He explained that it had been a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. The Titanic had 2 sister ships, who were identical to another in every aspect. I mean, we already know this. So you're saying this Lord Gordain bought this ship? Yeah, at least I think I am. That's impossible. No way we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old. Pipe down. Just pay attention. What? That's it? Well, have you any proof? Proof? Proof that this ship really is the Gigantic. Well, the ship's got stuff like the Titanic and hospital ship. So I just figured. Oh, for goodness, don't tell me that's your only reason. No, I've got more. Like? Well, I mean... Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to meet Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally opened his mouth. I don't know. Lotus sighed and shook her head. I guess your memory isn't back yet, is it? No, sorry. Then, almost as if to save Seven from further embarrassment, we hear a bell began to ring from far away. It sounded as though it was the clock at the main stairway. Junpei counted each chime carefully. 10, 11, 12. It's midnight. And we've still got 6 hours left, right? Let's just get moving. We gotta find that hardware that the Reds are missing. That's all well and good, but where are we going to look? Well, we've already searched the big patient room. They had been examining the room as they talked. We haven't found anything. Right. Well, there's only one thing left to do. Just one? Well, not just one. Wait a minute. Are you telling me we have to search all of these rooms? Well, you already checked some of them out before you came here, right? We each checked a single room, so 5 rooms in total. Alright then, that's 5 rooms we don't have to search. If we split up, it won't be that bad. If each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, we'll have the other 48 rooms cleared in no time. You know, notice how 7 is the one who offered them to split up. That's an indicator if I ever seen one. There are 48 other rooms. Lotus did not seem excited by the prospect. 7 fidgeted nervously before responding. Maybe. After some discussion, the 8 of them decided which rooms to begin with. She stole his whole... Okay, the rooms on the starboard side moving forward from the aft. They also determined that they would return to report their findings the next time the clock sounded the time. When they did, they would meet back in the large sun room full of beds. If during the However, yeah, we already saw this clip. Okay. So, we already saw this clip, paranoia. Let's see, if we start with the casino, what do we get? Okay, sounds good. They took off the stairs and went for a run. Before they knew it, they were there. Okay. Let's refuse and leave. No, that's alright. Let's go, June. Junpei tagged June's arm, led her backward towards the stairs. Was that okay? You don't think we should have listened to her? No, I've got a pretty good idea on what her proposal would have been. We should be looking for Snake. Well, where should we go next? Let's see, hallway with all the rooms? Let's go back downstairs and check the hallway with all the rooms. They took off to a run down the stairs. Let's see. Okay, that's to leave me alone. She's not in the mood to talk. Clover has driven home the misery of their situation, but Junpei told himself getting da-da-da-da-da. Wait, weren't we in a casino already? Okay, yeah, that's because Lotus was already there and we missed the opportunity. Let's see. Maybe Snake fixed it? Well, it would make sense to have it would have been Snake, wouldn't it? Maybe he got back here before any of us. Found a part somewhere, put him back, and then went through one of the number doors. Nah, that's not possible. You have to authenticate to at least 3 people or the rest won't open the door. There's no way a single person would be able to go there by themselves. Yeah, I guess you're right. It was a stupid mistake and Junpei knew it. How had he made such a foolish miscalculation? And how had Santa noticed it so quickly? Perhaps he just wasn't as clever as he used to be. Junpei shook his head sadly. So in other words, one of us is the person who fixed the red. Santa grinned. Bingo. We have a winner. If that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know that he fixed the red. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna find anyone there. Let's finish searching. Okay, we do the thing. She was right. In this one, we are pleasing the woman. It wasn't pleasant, but she was right. There wasn't any way the number worked out. If one group was 4, then the other group would always have a digital route that didn't match a door. When 7 spoke, his voice was strained. You're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind? Yes, we do. Okay, the soporial, and this time we're gonna be taking... I say we're gonna go with Lotus this time. Yeah. Because... I'm pretty sure I need to take door 8 in this route. I think I'm gonna go with door 8. Okay, door 8 it is. Yeah. Alright then. That means June's gotta go through 7. I do find Junpei saying it's the lotus symbol weird, since in this run she didn't do anything. It makes more sense last run where she refused to let them die in the freezer. That's fair. I think he mostly like I mean, she was kind of in this run. She was pretty cautious, like in the beginning, but she didn't do anything that bad, aside from like showing concern. What? Why? What? Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, and finally began to explain. The 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind. There's only 3 ways we can do it. Plan A. Go through 7 with 3, 5, 8, and Plan B, go through 7 with 4, 5, 7, or go through 8 with 3, 6, 8. Plan C, go through 7 with 3, 6, 7, and go through 8 with 4, 5, 8. And that's it. Those are our only options. In other words, 3, 4, and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now? As Santa finished, June looked over at tears. Okay. Oh no, you're saying we aren't going to see each other again for a long time? Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted her to be at her side. He wanted to be by her side whatever trials they were preparing to face, but he knew that if they were to survive, he had to swallow those feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile. Hey, come on, you're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went to the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that. You mean they're connected somewhere? Yeah, probably. Probably? She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected. I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere. Why? What makes you think so? If they don't connect, neither team can get through door number 9. In other words, the game would end right there. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have some fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until he get through the 9 door. June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder. Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise. June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod. Yes. Promise? Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment. You guys are done, right? He stretched and continued. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure it'll take 7 and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover? Clover looked away and was silent for a moment. Whatever. It was more of a dismissal than agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care. Alright, we're ready to go then. Let's move. At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7, and June walked towards door 7, while Clover, Lotus, and Junpei headed for door 8. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. Then, Lotus laid her hand against her chest and turned to Junpei and Clover. Are you ready? Yeah. Yes. Then shall we go? We're also gonna enter one of my favorite one of my favorite rooms in the entire run. You'll see why. There is a very special character we meet. The door had opened. A narrow hallway then stretched out before them. Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. Still no update on the Junpei outfit, Hale. Yeah, it's because I need, listen, I just didn't really have much time to, draw it. Or commission it. Maybe I'll make it, maybe not. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as they were about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, towards door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked towards him. Their eyes met. They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds. It would be perfect as the snow hermit in 3 hoodies. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe if I make myself a second outfit, it's gonna have 3 hoodies just for the sake of it. Then someone took a hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. I'm just gonna check. Does he really have 3 hoodies? He has 3 layers. I mean, 3. Junpei basically has a vest. He has a shirt. He has a cropped hoodie, and he has a parka. So it's 3 layers, but not necessarily 3 hoodies. He had heard the sound of the numbered doors slammed shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep. 81 seconds left. Hurry! I guess the shirt really isn't a hoodie. Yeah. I guess the parka can be a hoodie. Can be a second hoodie. Such an iconic design, to be honest. Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could. It stopped. With a shaking hand, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm, aloof, perhaps. Pointless. She muttered to herself without emotion and began to walk down the hallway, leaving a confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girls receding back into a mix of frustration and curiosity. What an unpleasant girl. I bet she's not very popular with the boys. Yeah, she's a lesbian. I see her. I think your gaydar is working, but not in the way you intended to, Lotus. Her sarcasm seemed to be more biting than was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the young girl. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed. The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a dead end. You two both like women, huh? Woman coffee emoji. Set into the wall of the left side was a large iron door. For a few minutes, in the beginning, they stood in front of the door, examining it. Above all, Crazy Snake and Clover are both gay. Yeah, pretty much. Snake's story is really funny because he was democratically elected gay. Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it. A laboratory, huh? Doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place. Me either. There aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices. Junpei. Huh? Please, you first. Ah, classic Lotus. Hold on. Yeah, I just had a call I needed to take. But I'm back. Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect. Ugh. Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but he examined the room. It became clear that there was no imminent danger. Lotus followed him and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into that wall made it possible to see into the other side of the division. Junpei walked in by the window and looked through. What the hell? He wasn't sure what else to say. In the center of the room, shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lay in what looked like a medical room table. It looks so creepy. Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to him. You don't think that thing is going to suddenly sit up or something, do you? Well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If you press the wrong button, I don't know. Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying. She was gripping her arms. Oh yeah, it is Science Boy. She was gripping her arms, the knuckles on her hands white. It was then that Junpei noticed Clover. She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of a calm, but it was drawn and somehow sad. There was something almost pitiful about her. Junpei walked over to her, and as kindly as he could, spoke. Are you okay? Clover looked away. What are you talking about? Well, I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet. What, I can't be quiet if I want to? Well, I mean, of course you can, I just... Okay then, if I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay? Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together. Clover bit her lip and was silent for a moment, and then suddenly, Junpei, you just don't get it! Her cry took Junpei by surprise, and he stumbled backward a few steps, alarmed. My brother's not the kind of person who'd just leave me behind! Something happened to him. Something bad. Junpei had nothing to say. Lotus, jolted from mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned towards them. What happened? Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei. Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone. Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei and Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk away quickly. Hey! Wait, Clover! Hold on! He might as well have been talking to a wall, for all the notes she took off of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made her doorway cut through the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down, she passed through the doorway. You know, I hate saying this, but Clover isn't the smartest. I mean, like, in this one, she definitely has the excuse of walking into a room not knowing what it does, but like, I don't know. It's like, you know, I'm, again, very light spoilers towards Virtue's Last Reward for people who haven't played. I think that, like, the thing about Clover that, like, is that, like, some of her traits have been accentuated during VLR. Without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling and got portcullis, sealing Clover in. What the heck? What's going on here? Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could. Hang on, I'll get it open. Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. Three of them pulled as hard as they could, but... Damn it, it's not moving. Wait! Are you just gonna give up? Just like that? No, I'm not giving up. This has got to be one of Zero's puzzles. If it is, then it's got to be a way out. Then there's got to be a way to open it. Junpei nodded. Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here, Clover. You're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there. Oh, yes, I'm on it! Okay. But before we do that, I am gonna go to the bathroom. And, also refill my water bottle so I stay hydrated. Enjoy this banger, by the way, in the meantime. Let's see. It's funny. I find it funny in the freezer what suddenly wasn't a Zero puzzle. Lotus just almost killed them. Yeah. That was not planned. No way. They just had to improvise. This is definitely more deliberate. I took a piss and I got my hydration. So I'm just gonna turn off the animation. And yeah, let's figure this one out because there's someone's depending on us right now. Silver handrail. Junpei, do something, please! Okay. Let's see. Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. There's something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something. What the hell were they doing here? Huh? Why is she all quiet now? They were doing experiments on humans. Probably. Oh man, now she looks sad. There's a mannequin lying on the exam table. I can't really see it well from here, but it looks like there's a bunch of electrodes sticking out of its head. There's a mannequin lying on the exam table. It's got a bunch of electrodes sticking out of its head. There's a that mannequin looks so sad. I gotta admit, I'm starting to feel kind of sorry for it. Am I getting attached to this thing? Maybe I should give it a name. How about the science boy? Science boy is lying on the table. His poor head is full of electrodes. Science boy is lying on the table. Okay, yeah, this is Science Boy. I think, like, he is the second most iconic supporting character from this game. Right next to but only slightly behind the Funai Rinpa. I don't know what kind of table this is, but part of it is all black. There's a pen lying over there. I think somebody probably used it to make the table black. Well, they only used the pen on one part of it. There's probably something underneath all that pen. Clover, do you think you can erase it? Yeah, sure. Oh, this is permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker? Erasing from permanent marker, huh? Give me just a moment, Clover. I'll be right back. So this puzzle is really cool because Clover is trapped in one of the segments. Let's see, we have all these lockers. We have ethanol. Ethanol. I wonder if this is for an antisepsis. Oh, it says anhydrous ethanol. Anhydrous. Is that different from the regular ethanol? Come on, that's just common knowledge. Anhydrous ethanol is a powerful cleaner, and it can even erase marks left by a permanent marker. Well, looks like we know what to give to Clover. Well, I guess that's all there is. These lockers are a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. It's a cardboard box. There are some papers and stuff in it. What's in the box? Looks like it's quite full. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiments, but it's all really technical stuff, and I don't really get it. What did they do on this ship, I wonder? There's a lot of stuff here. I don't know if we can use any of these. Well, I can say for sure that I do know how to use at least one of these things. Which one? The one on top. I think it's a power cable. Power cable, huh? I'll take that. Three-pronged power cable. This is definitely a power cable. Do you remember if you ran into anything that didn't have power? This is a keyhole. This looks like a keyhole for the activation key. You know, I think I'm gonna give the ethanol to Clover because she does need it. Clover, use this ethanol. You should be able to wipe it off that permanent ink with it. What am I gonna wipe it with? Oh, well, your clothes, of course. Kidding, just kidding. Please don't look at me like that. You're scaring me. Seems like we need to look for some cloth for the ethanol. Wait, isn't there any cloth in the room? Nope, doesn't seem like it. Clover, can you use the cloth on the table? Use, huh? Soak it in the ethanol and then use it to wash off all the stuff from the permanent marker, okay? Right, okay. So I'm gonna soak the cloth with ethanol. There we go, she did it. Well, she got the cloth and she seems to be having a little trouble with the bottle of ethanol. When she's ready, I should ask her to get to work with that stuff on the table. Let's ask her. Sip the cloth in ethanol and... Junpei! It's working! It's wiping the permanent ink off! Huh? There's some kind of weird drawing under all the permanent ink. What's the deal with the drawing that Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at it, table. I wonder if this is... There are a bunch of numbers in some kind of grid. I can't see it from here. Clover, you got a pen and a notebook, right? Can you write those numbers down and then hand them to me through the bars? Okay! Roger! Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk here. Papers with numbers acquired. New material has been added to the file screen. Let's see. Oh, it's here. Is this Sudoku? Maybe it's Sudoku. Either way, it seems like Clover got something useful for us. And let's see. There are 2 levers here. You think they activate something? Well, why don't you move one? Alright, I'll give it a try. Nope. Doesn't look like anything's happened. The handles on this clock have stopped moving. The clock may stop, but time goes on. Anytime you screw around. We need to figure out a way to out of here. It's a clock, the hands have stopped, so we don't know what time it is actually. This is a really old type of keyboard. Keyboard is pretty old-fashioned. Okay. So we saw this thing. This is a computer. The power isn't on. Well, there's a power button. This is a waste of time. What? I don't see the power cable. Oops, yeah, you're right. No power cable. This thing isn't even connected to the main computer, though. It's got a monitor, keyboard, mouse, but that's it. Just thinking the power cable isn't going to do anything. Oh, I didn't know about that. Junpei, can we get back to what we were talking about, please? The computer doesn't have a power cable. No, it sure doesn't. And? Don't say and, it's rude. Have you already forgotten what you just picked up? Oh my god, she remembers. What I just picked up. Oh, wow. The monitor doesn't have a power cable, so one end of the cable needs to be connected to the monitor. The other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Oh shit, I can't use this. What's wrong? The cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not gonna fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're gonna need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs. That's right. Oh, that's a pain. I wonder if there's anything here. I hope those numbers are gonna be helpful. Maybe there's something on Clover's end. Hey Clover, how are the power cables over there? Huh? What do you mean? Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look. I guess she does have to kind of crouch down to get a look under there. The cable on the monitor has, it's got 2 of those little metal things. What does that mean? That's it. Okay, can you plug the cable and bring it over here? Okay, but... Well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you. Yeah, that's no good then. Well, how about just the plug? What? The plug? Well, maybe more like the, connector? Yeah, it seems like Clover is... I don't want to say that she's less intelligent, but she is definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed. It's sort of the thing that makes the plug with the 3 metal thingies into a plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless? Not useless. Not useless at all. That's just what we were looking for. Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit? And back down she goes. Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it over to you on the bars, okay? Here you go. The 2-prong plug. Thanks. And then we just combine these two, and okay. Put the 2-prong plug onto the head of the power cable, and we got him. Yay. Alright, I've got the 2-prong power cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this will work. On the desk I go, and let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, let's turn the power on. I don't think anything's gonna happen. Why not? It's not connected to the main computer. You never know until you try. Pretty optimistic. Junpei pushed the button in the front of the monitor. With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letter made no sense to Junpei. Began to scroll across the screen. He had hoped it would turn on, but he didn't expect this. Huh? It's actually working? Sound would seem. Isn't it kind of weird? What? Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just a keyboard and the monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So why is it working? Maybe it's a wireless display. Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus. A woman in... You know how lotuses have stems? So, Lotus is a woman in STEM in more than one way. A wireless display. Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly. Hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei? He most certainly had not, but... Is that normal? Yeah, at least where I worked. As they spoke, the lines of letters suddenly stopped and disappeared. The only thing left on the screen was a word pass, followed by a colon. Looks like we need to enter a password. Again? There must be a hint around here somewhere. Could you take a look? Yeah, I'm on it. What are you gonna do? I'll see if I can do something about this on my own. On your own? Yep, on my own. Lotus pulls over the nearest chair and drops herself onto it, in front of the keyboard. For a second time, she stared at the screen. She knitted her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left, then right. Alright, let's kick some ass. Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like a machine gun fire. What? Junpei was for once at a loss for words. Didn't expect that, did you? Of course I didn't. What kind of job did you have? What are you? I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit. Why? Lotus blinked. Huh? Oh, I was just something. It was just something. She stopped typing for a moment and her face fell. This was not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized, and something shut his mouth. I'm guessing she quit because she was looking for her daughter. Like she was trying to find the truth about her daughter's disappearance. Lotus's finger began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen. What are you doing now? Hacker woman, yeah. I'm going to try to brute force it. Brute what? The brute force attack is... Well, the short version is just that I attack the thing head on. The long version... Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain. The brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher, she told him. You know, thanks to this game, I actually know what brute forcing is. It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time. The thought of doing something like that made Junpei feel tired, but Lotus explained that she was just writing a program that can just run an attack on its own. It's not the most elegant solution, certainly. But, given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do. Even as she talked, her fingers never moved slowly or missed a key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little odd. Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier. What were we talking about? The wireless display. It's kind of strange when you think about it, isn't it? How do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you. Alright. So you enter 1 plus 1. The screen will show you 2. See, isn't that strange? No, not really. Come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it's strange. You said so just a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 plus 1? The main computer, right? You said it's connected to the monitor wirelessly. Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? I do think the other games do struggle at times to make the other players feel useful in the puzzles. But it's dope that Lotus just solves it herself. Yeah, they're mostly there to banter. Hold on. Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? They'd probably think this thing was here. This thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they decide that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke a screen or something. Ah, but I see, the color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the side. Oh, I see, so the wire supplies power. Eventually they might cut the wires. Ah, yes, just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be this device which does the calculations. But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that. You know, I like how people just, like, give him a bunch of thought exercises, and this is the one that Lotus gave him. She also gave the other, thought exercise with, like, the, Fnairenta. These cave people wouldn't know that, because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected wirelessly. Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head. So, what are you trying to say? Nothing. Really? It's just, I thought maybe... What if the relationship between human beings and our brain is like that? Huh? Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into a part of the brain. Scientists examining the signals they send out might say, interesting, so stimulating this part of the brain causes a person to see colors. That must mean the neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just like what I thought. Cutting off this part causes this dysfunction to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain. You get it? It's just like the monitor. Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes are actually occur somewhere else in the main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. We can't imagine that's some sort of unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts. Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like that from her. I mean, in the previous run, it'll probably make more sense, because she also gave him a weird thought exercise. The brain is just an output device? Humans actually thought that... Human thought actually occurs somewhere else. Did Lotus really think that, he wondered. It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether much like a bizarre cultish religion. Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia. Oblivious to Junpei's increases discomfort, Lotus continued. If memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body, somewhere, maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged. I suppose that would explain phasias and blindside too. Perhaps they actually can speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people would it's prosopagnosia. I always said propagnosia, but no, it's prosopagnosia. Could be suffering the same thing. Wait a minute. What? You knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV, and blindside was never easy enough to guess. But you never heard the word prosopagnosia before. What, you've never heard of prosopagnosia? Lotus spun around in her chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head. Nope. What is it? Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. In other words, my face would look like the same as Clover's or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Usually they can make it do by associating people with things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair. Does that mean that their people's faces look like blanks? No, I don't think so. You've seen monkeys, like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same, even though they're obviously got faces. It's almost impressive for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them would learn to identify different monkeys, eventually, but you and I couldn't unless one had a scar or something to set it apart. That's how people would see someone with prosopagnosia. Prosopagnosia, huh? Didn't even know that thing existed. Junpei did his best to act though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head. And what were we talking about? The idea that your brain is just an output device like a monitor. Are you serious about that stuff? Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it. What about the other half? Well, I guess I was just adulting. Not funny. I like it. I like Lotus. She's great. Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it. I think sadistic is the word we're intending. Masochistic means that she likes enduring pain. Sadistic means she likes inflicting it. It's nothing more than a story made out of boredom. Don't take it too seriously. It was the first thing that came to mind, and I just talked about to kill time, which is how she also did the Funai Rinpa thing. But it looks like I don't need to talk anymore. Why? I don't have to kill time any longer. As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down on the enter key. The program took only seconds to analyze the system. Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, and then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left was the word accepted. Piece of cake. Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it was not made her look entirely ridiculous. Also, I wonder if brute forcing is also a hacking method that exists in real life. I'm gonna look it up. A brute force? Yeah, it is. It is actually a thing that people use. It's a cryptanalytic attack. Actual concept that you can find on actual Wikipedia. Nice. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared, only to be replaced with 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square. What the hell is that? No idea. It looks like a puzzle. Suddenly, Lotus stood up. Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff? I can't do anymore. It won't let me do any more programming. See? The keyboard? Nothing. So there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei. What? Let me take a break, alright? I did my part. He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly has done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself. From here on out, he told himself he would rely on no one else. Junpei crossed his arms and stared the puzzle down the screen. Oh, it's one of those. Ha-ha! Wow! Alright, I solved it. Did you hear a noise just now? Yeah, I did. It sounded like something locking. When did it come from? I just want to look at something. Clover's note. I'm guessing this was the hint for that puzzle. Just maybe. Look, Junpei. The lights on the lockers are green. We must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle. And we have 2 keys. There's more than one key here. This one is small. It looks like it goes to some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it. I think the Earth symbol matches the keyhole in the door in the A deck. Well, if that's the case, we probably don't need the Earth key right now. Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you deep in my pockets. Now as far for the other key. It's an activation key. It was just at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover. Hey, Junpei! You have a minute? He put the puzzle aside for a moment and walked to Clover. What's up? I, wanted to ask you something. Junpei, you went to door 5 with my brother, right? Did you hear him say, like, anything weird? Why is she asking me this? Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for a long time. Gloria was quite attached to her brother, of course. She would have been worried about him. He thought back to when he'd gone through door number 5, hoping he might remember something, even small something, that would help her. However... Sorry, Clover. I can't really think of anything. I mean, he did mention his hearing exceeds that of a regular person or something like that, but that's about it. Okay. Clover's words were barely audible. She nodded vaguely to Junpei and turned to walk away. Huh. Hey, wait a minute. Look, I don't know if I should ask you things, but if you don't mind, I was hoping you can tell me if, is Snake, I mean, was he born... You're talking about his eyes? Yeah. No, he wasn't born blind. He was a kid who got into an accident. A really bad car accident. He couldn't see after that. And his arm... His arm? Yeah. My brother's left arm. It's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm. The accident hurt him so bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm. Is that all you wanted to ask me? Talking about her brother had clearly taken a great deal out of Clover. Junpei nodded. Look, I'm sorry for making you talk about all the painful stuff. Junpei only shook her head and walked down the stairs. Okay, I think the key goes over here. This key. The shape makes it seem like it goes in this machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Okay, the monitor is up now. It's full of letters. It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. Emergency system will reactivate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Okay. Power restored to experimental device. Clover, there's a door in the back, isn't there? Wait right there. I'll take a look. Oh no, it's locked. It's locked. I can't get it to move. Science boy is lying on the table. His poor head is full of electrodes. This is an under. There's a lot of cables under his table. I have scribblings from the table already. It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the other stuff out of the cables. I can see the wires inside. Junpei, this thing in here is on now. Yeah, that's because we activated power over on the side. Could you, like, play with it a little? Okay. Yeah. I'll turn on the dial here. Turn, turn, turn. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened. Well, maybe she missed something. I should ask her to look around the room again. I wonder if they want what they washed here. There are some weird colored stains all over the sink. Those are the stairs I just came down. The bars and gate are just above me. Maybe we can increase the voltage? Roger, will do. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to the max voltage. Max voltage? Hey! Wait, Clover! Oh, shit. And now the saddest moment in the game. What? I think, Oh my god! The mannequin's head! Oh man, that sounds like a fire alarm. God, what the hell? Fire detected. Fire detected. The emergency system will be activated. Evacuate the room immediately. Science Boy's head is on fire. Science Boy! No! Oh, the humanity! What the hell is Science Boy? Are you talking about the mannequin? Yes. Forget about the mannequin. You need to help Clover now. Science Boy's head. I feel bad for him, but he's already done for. I need to save Clover. Damn, the gate's still shut. The control device for the electronic door lock. The green light is on. Junpei, the light turned green. And the lock must also open. Can't just leave though. We have to save Clover first. Hey, the screen's all red. Malfunction has been detected. Experiment discontinued. The emergency system has been activated. Typing on the keyboard isn't doing squat. We've already inserted the key in the activated machine. Okay, not working. I imagine you'll be ending the stream after. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end. We also did like 3 escape rooms in a row. I think that's plenty of content. What are you doing, Junpei? You need to save Clover now. I'm trying to figure out how! Junpei, look at the light! Yeah, it's green. The emergency system has been activated and disabled the lock. Now I can save Clover. Junpei! Come on, kid. Jump! She's safe. Oh man, this milk is some serious business. Time to close this door again, I think. Clover, are you okay? Are you hurt? And she's coughing so hard she can't even talk. Of course I'm not alright! What the hell took you so long, you big jerk? I was almost dead! Sorry, I was going as fast as I could. You two can do it later. Right now, we need to get the hell out of here. The fire's not going to stay in the room forever. I wonder if in the other scenarios they also like the Science Boy on fire. Justice for Science Boy, by the way, the true victim of this game. Junpei, Clover, and Lotus left out of the laboratory, slamming the door shut behind them. All 3 of them collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest, and his whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clear air, and with each one, he could feel his body begin to calm down. All right, let's go. They nodded to each other and started off down the hallway. Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked. Soon, they had tried all the doors but one. The final door sat in the corner of the hallway. Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out from behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to Junpei! He spun around. There, at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running towards him. 3 of them. June, Santa, and 7. They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air. Hey! What are you guys doing here? What? We didn't... Before he could finish, Clover spoke. Guys, could you come over here? She was standing near the end of the hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found. There was something on the wall in the end of the hallway. A map of the ship's interior. It said a sea deck is the upper left corner. Most likely, they assumed, it's a map of the floor they were on. Door 7 and door 8, the map confirmed what they both knew. Both doors eventually led to the hallway where they both found themselves. In fact... Yeah, isn't that what I said? Till we find that 9 doors, you're only gonna split us up. We might get separated a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we can't open door 9. That's how the nonary game works. Junpei looked at the map at the ship's interior again. As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to wariness. One by one, the others saw what he'd seen. As one, they all moved back towards the door Junpei had only moments ago was ready to open. He pulled the map of the ship's interior off the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5. Ready? I'm gonna open it. They nodded at their soundless scent. With deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were. They were just in the map where the map said they would be. The same room they'd been in not so very long ago. There is one thing I'm not certain of. But I guess my answer will be, my question will be answered soon. The tremendous central hospital room with empty beds from wall to wall. I see. I believe I understand what you're saying. The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and laboratory, and then went one after another in the hallway after opening your respective locked rooms. He looked like anyone might after only just waking up, but it seemed that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report. At any rate, I feel a bit silly for a little show of altruism. I'm sure you'll be back for me. I did hope you would come back, but I confess I didn't think you'd be back so soon. Ace shook his head with a rueful smile. Well, we saw each other again, and we ain't dead, so I'd say that's good enough. 7 smiled. Anyway, I say we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need. The key? Ain't that what you just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Here. 7 tossed something small and metallic towards Junpei. He caught it and found that the object was a key. On it, someone has engraved a symbol very similar to Thor. He looked over at June, who nodded back. It had to be the Jupiter symbol. I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright? Yeah, got it. Well, I've got something for you too, then. Here. It's the Saturn key card we found in the kitchen. I might lose it. It's probably best if you hold on to it. That way it won't be my fault if it gets lost. And with that, she pressed it into Junpei's head. He felt slightly less than honored. As a group, they now had 3 keys that have not been used. The Earth key, which had been found in the laboratory. The Jupiter key, which 7 had just handed to Junpei. the Saturn key, which Lotus had just handed to Junpei. Junpei tacked the new keys into his pockets. June spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then next to the stairs.
Wait.
They were the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested that they weren't going to be very happy words. What about door 3? Look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. It just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point in seeing what's on the other side of the door.
There is a point. At least, there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glanced at 7 as hard as she could, just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who'd ever resisted those eyes. 7 looked everywhere in the room except for Clover, and muttered and coughed alongside and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath. Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3. Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace. Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I had a nice long rest. I think it's time I wake up and was up and about again. So 7, you'll help me, won't you? Huh? Me? Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12. It seems like 7 was doing them too. At last he gave up. Damn, well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh? Yes, you are. Alright, let's get moving. And so it was decided Clover, Ace, and 7 would discover what lay beyond door 3. Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa, didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it get to your head.
I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it.
The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
Pragmatical as ever.
As if the answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on the rod. Okay, let's go. The door opened, and Ace, Clover, and 7 jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily. Alright, we should get moving too. Huh?
Get moving?
What are we going? Or everyone except Lotus seemed rather confused. Well, it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it? Let me explain.
I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes? Yes, if we're lucky, we might find Snake. They were at the end of the hallway lined with individual hospital rooms. The Jupiter symbol was engraved in the keyhole. All right, Junpei, open it. Open it, if you please. Yeah, on it. Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. All right, ready, guys? Junpei's companions nodded. He nodded back and then slowly and quietly opened the door. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase. Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea? What do you mean? Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking if there's any reason we came back here. Of course there is a reason, dude. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky. Huh? This. Junpei pulled 2 things out of his pockets. The Saturn key card and the Earth key. Santa cocked his head from the side like an inquisitive bird and looked at them. After several long moments during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. On the A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So, the 2 keys that Junpei has
should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck, huh?
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa. Alright, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into 2 teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you two can search the Saturn one, alright? Sounds good. Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. Ooh, there is a really infamous scene coming in soon. They decided their initial search should be brief, only 10 minutes. They'd meet back near the staircase once they were done. I am at the very least gonna do this this scene. You know the one. Junpei and June headed for the elevators. Sure enough, there was a card reader bolted next to the wall. Bolted to the wall next to the left elevator. He lined the Saturn keycard and swept it through the reader. A light on the upper left corner blinked to life. Great. Looks like it's working now.
All right. Now, how do I call the elevator?
There was a single button next to the right of the elevator door. On the button that was upside down triangle, the universal symbol for down. There didn't seem to be any up button. Junpei pushed it. He didn't have much of a choice.
It opened! Look, Junpei!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a single tinge of anxiety. Sweet, it opened. Let's get going. He grinned at June and stepped towards the open door. As he was about to set foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really... it's just... oh gosh.
Junpei was something at a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of being locked up alone with a boy, or they could only go down. What do you think she's afraid of, chat? I think I'm gonna go with option 1. After a little thought, Junpei decided she had decided to be nervous about being locked up in such a small space with a boy. In a way, it was kind of cute. Very, very demure, very mindful, you could say, he thought. Still, even though it wasn't exactly roomy in the elevator, they weren't going to be pressed up against one another. At least they didn't have to be. Still, it was making her nervous. Junpei couldn't help but think about how innocent she was. Come on, let's go. Again, he stepped towards the elevator. And again, he felt himself restrained.
I said, wait a minute.
Why?
Aren't you afraid, Junpei?
Afraid of what?
Well, I've never, you know...
She'd never been in an elevator with a man alone before? Even so, she seemed awfully alarmed.
I might get wet.
What?
Down there, I get soaking wet.
Wait, I mean, of course you would. That's kind of the way it works. I mean, I've never heard of anyone getting soaking wet somewhere else.
That's true. You don't mind?
Mind what?
getting wet?
Well, I don't know. I think I'd probably, like it.
Gosh, Junpei, you're so brave.
Really? I mean, I kind of think any guy would do the same thing, What happens, happens, right? If you get the chance, you just gotta go for it. That's what a man's supposed to do, I guess.
You're so cool, Junpei. I really admire you.
That doesn't seem like the sort of thing you ought to admire someone for.
I'm really scared.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you've never done it before.
Yes. So I don't think I'll be able to last very long. And then it'll be over.
Over?
Yes, I'll go to heaven.
Heaven?
It feels kind of like you're floating in space and your mind gets all fuzzy like when you pass out. At least that's what I've heard from people who have experienced it.
Yes, I've heard that too. Although, I don't think the same thing happens to guys.
What?
Huh?
But it would happen to men too, wouldn't it? It would happen to anyone. Once it gets into your body, the same things happens to everyone.
Well, I mean, usually it doesn't go inside the man. I mean, generally.
Yes, it does. Well, eventually it will. It's not like you really have a choice. Your body will force you to swallow some of it eventually.
What are you trying to do to me?
Nothing. I'm just not going to do anything to you. I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm just saying that's what happens. It's a psychological reaction to your experience, to what you're experiencing.
Was this really how it happened? It occurred to Junpei, but perhaps that was how it worked. Perhaps he'd been mistaken all those years. Had he misunderstood life so gravely? The thought terrified him. June seemed to be entirely oblivious to Junpei's mouthing confusion and terror.
I know most men probably have larger lungs, but even then, I don't think you could hold your breath for 20 or even 10 minutes. Eventually, you'd have to breathe and the water would get into your lungs. Once that happens, your body won't be able to get oxygen anymore, and you'll start to feel floaty feeling even as you pass out.
Finally, Junpei understood. He understood what June was trying to say and why she was so scared. Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't last very long.
See?
She was really afraid that the only elevator pointed down. But then, of course, the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. And as he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to lower decks, and the floor below the one they were on, D deck, should be completely submerged. That meant... Hey, wait a minute. The elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise, like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So take a look inside. Junpei jerked his head towards the interiority of the elevator. It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Yes, you're right, they are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed. Well, let's test it.
Test it?
Yeah, watch this. Junpei put one foot in the elevator and bent around the corner of the door until he could see the 4 buttons. There were only 2, E and C. He pushed the E button and jumped out the elevator. The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor of the elevator car move down. By the way, I tried really hard not to break character during the Get Wet monologue. It was really hard. I was about to laugh a couple of times. Gamercore, you also reminding me of Feel Wet Incorporated. That was like, I just started thinking of that video Which, by the way, I recommend you all check out. If you guys want to see what a stroke feels like, look up Feel What Incorporated. That is exactly what a stroke feels like. At least in my opinion, as someone who's never had a stroke. But maybe Junpei had a stroke about how demure Akane was. A few moments later, they heard the sound of the elevator door grinding open several floors below. Spoken like a true ace. Yep. I mean, I'd say the truest ace here is the one that's using it as his code name in the game. Being horny feels like a stroke. They heard the sound of the elevator door grinding over several floors below. Junpei nodded to June and pressed the elevator button again. A few moments later, the elevator returned. The door slid open, and just as Junpei had expected, there was no water to be found. See? Junpei couldn't resist pulling out of his chest, just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean? How can E-Deck be safe if D-Deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft in E-Deck must be watertight, and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you. He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration. That's indeed a very rough illustration.
I see. So that's why the ship hasn't sunk. The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slid it back to his pocket. So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay out here, alright?
But...
Come on, just do it, alright? He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze and then hopped onto the elevator. He pushed the E button and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as she was trying to make a decision suddenly. I'm coming with you! Huh? At the last possible moment, June dashed towards, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap with the closing doors. Junpei jabbed his finger against the open button, but it was too late. The door had shut, he and June were in the elevator, and was headed down to E-Deck. And then they both got wet. He was so surprised by June he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on E-Deck. The elevator stopped and the door slid open. They stepped off onto the floor outside the elevator. Nothing seemed especially unusual. No fish going on about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily in the water. There was, however, a blowfish, or at least someone that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out, in her mouth a tiny, intense frown. Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought, this part hasn't flooded. Come on, just look around, there's no water here. June looked around nervously and then... exhaled.
You're right! It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's going to happen if the ceiling breaks?
Junpei thought about it for a moment. Well, we'd probably get really wet. Up there.
Huh?
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay. Good idea.
Junpei glanced around the room they found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. Junpei, you petty bitch. Yeah. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one. Still, we can't get over there.
Right.
Then perhaps... In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening. He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner. A long, straight hallway stretched in the front of him.
That door in the end of the hallway. There's something written on it.
Yeah, let's have a look. Junpei and June set off on the hallway with a brisk clip. Somewhere between a run and a jog. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On top of it was a number written in bright red paint. 6. I knew it.
There's a numbered door.
And indeed, there was a red bolted right next to the door. Yeah. Of course, with only 2 people, there wasn't much they could do with it. Alright, let's head back.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to C deck. On their way back, Junpei noticed the map on the wall. As it turned out, it was a burnt map of the ship's interior for E deck. Huh. So you guys found door 1. They met back up with Sand and Lotus, who had explained what they found. Apparently there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that the Earth key opened. According to Sand and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door. All told, they had discovered 2 new doors, the 6th door and the 1 door. It is interesting that E deck wasn't flooded. Lotus was quiet for a moment. Lotus lost and found. Well, we don't really know if all of E deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator. Even so, it's still very interesting. You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
And that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure. Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to all of the cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
The thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus slightly sighed softly to herself, and Santa crept a stiff neck and stared off to distance at nothing.
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with the large, pleading eyes. Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already. Well, Junpei? Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door number 1. Huh? You guys leaving me behind? Just kidding. Alright, let's go. It's always hard to know when she's being serious, you know, because every third sentence she says is just a troll. Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. And we opened the large hospital room. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room. Hey! Where the hell did you guys go? It was 7. Ace was right behind him and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back. It looked as there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though it was only moments away from passing out entirely. For a long moment they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at 7. What happened? What the hell kind of question is that? 7 was trying very hard to get angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling and his voice was strained. Snake is... 7 couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by. Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. And he took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke. Snake is... dead. And I think here is where we're going to be saving. I mean, we already knew that Snake was dead because we discovered his corpse last stream. And, yeah. But so this is a semi cliffhanger because we don't really know how this will play on in this run. So yeah, thank you so much for attending the stream. I had a pretty fun time with you guys, and I read some of the most iconic moments of this entire game with you guys, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, I hope you guys will catch the next stream on Saturday. And until then, let's stay frosty. Goodbye.